Hello friends, in today's session we are going to start the new chapter, that is string handling. What is string? String is a sequence of characters like in other languages, but Java treats them as an object of type string. So string is an inbuilt class defined in Java. Because of this, it has all built-in methods that make string handling convenient. Okay. So for string handling, there are some methods defined already. So you don't have to worry about it. You just have to use those methods in the string class. Once created, you cannot change the string. Actually, you cannot change the characters that comprise the string, but still you can perform all types of string operation on that particular string object. Okay, so basically, if you are changing the string, if you are modifying the characters are in the string, present in the string, what is actually happening in the behind the actual string object that is not getting modified. Okay, its new copy is created in the background and that copy will be modified. The original string you created while initializing that string will remain intact. Okay, every time you change a string, new copy of string is created that contains the modifications. Original string is left unchanged. The fixed immutable strings are more convenient than the changeable ones. Okay, still, if you can modify the strings, fixed immutable strings are more convenient. If you want to change the original string, there is one more class available, that is companion class string buffer is available. Whenever you are creating the object of string buffer, any modification that you are making in that string buffer object will modify the original string. But in string class, whatever changes you will make, those will not make any changes to the original object value. Both the string and string buffer classes are defined in java.lang, so are available to all automatically. Both are final. You cannot create it subclass. Okay, you cannot inherit that class. Okay, you cannot create it like my class extends string or class my class extends string buffer. Although you can't change the string within object of type string, contents of string can't be changed. You can still point one string variable to point to another string. That is, you can create the string reference objects. String constructors. What are string constructors? String s is equal to new string. So these are different types of string constructors available in java.lang.string class. String s is equal to new string. This creates a string with no characters. Then string characters array. This creates a string with its initial value. Then character chars is equal to abc. String s is equal to new string of characters. Okay, so here no value is passed. This is default constructor. It will create a string, blank string. It will create a string that comprise of this character array with initial value, and this is the this is the character array with three values a, b, c. So new string will be created as a, b, and c. You can specify subrange of character array as an initializer using the following constructor. Okay, so subrange of character array means from which index to which index. Here starting index is given, and from starting index how many number of characters I have to take in this character array specified. Start index is the index where the subrange begins. Number of characters is equal to number of characters to use from the start index. And then enter characters is equal to a, b, c, d, e. Okay, so if this is my example with the characters initially a, b, c, d, e. So from index 2, start index is 2. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. From 2 I have to take 3 characters because number of characters are 3. So from 2 index 2, 3, 4, that is 0, 1, 2. This 3 CDE will comprise my new string, that is S. And I can display this S using system.out.println C, D and E. You can create string that contains same character sequence as another string. String object. Okay. So this is just a copy of one string into another string. Okay. So this is the character arrays first of all. Then this is the constructor that we have already seen. You can use this constructor. In that constructor, we are specifying the characters array. String s is equal to new string of characters. string s1 is equal to new string of s. Then I'm printing this array. I'm printing this string object using system.out.println s. Okay. So s is also Java and this is also Java. Okay. S and s1. By mistake, it is written here. It should be s1. Okay. So although characters in Java uses 16-bit, the typical for strings on the internet uses arrays of 8-bit bytes constructed from ASCII character set. Okay. So typical for strings on the internet uses as arrays of 8-bit bytes. 8-bit bytes are common. String class provides constructor that initialize the string when given a byte array. So for byte array also one constructor is defined because 8-bit bytes are commonly used. Okay. String byte ASCII characters. So these are the 8-bit bytes characters. ASCII characters specify arrays of bytes. String byte ASCII characters start index and number of bytes. Same as we have seen in previous example, specify a subrange. Okay. So ASCII character set 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. So what are the ASCII characters? This is the chart that will tell you about which number relates to which character. Okay, in this case, 65 relates to capital A, 66 relates to capital B. You can find out this ASCII table. Okay, so I'm creating the ASCII set over here. Okay, and I'm creating the string object and system.out.println s1. Okay, and then I'm creating a new string s2 is equal to new string ASCII from 2 to 3 characters, and I'm printing system.out.println s2. Okay, so this from the string of for the string object s2, I am creating string as in the ASCII array from 2 to 3. So index number 2 is 67, that is ASCII character 6C, capital C, 3 characters C, D and E. So it will display C, D and E. Extended versions of the byte to string constructors are also defined, in which you can specify character encoding that determines how bytes are converted to characters. Okay, so byte to string converters constructors are more specifically defined, so that in that you can specify the character encoding that determines how bytes are converted to characters. But most of the time you will want to use the default encoding provided by the platform. Okay, the contents of the array are copied whenever you create a string object from the array. Whatever contents are present in the array are copied to the string object. If you modify the contents of the array after you have created a string, string will be unchanged. Okay, so it is exact copy, but it is not called by reference. It is a call by value. So whenever you will modify the contents of array, that original string will remain intact. You can construct a string from a string buffer by using the constructor string from string buffer. String in bracket string buffer object. Okay. So this is also one constructor you can add on. Okay. String constructors added by J2SE5. J2SE5 added two constructors to string. The first supports extended Unicode character set and is shown here. Integer code points array, integer start index, comma, integer number of characters. Here code points is an array that contains Unicode code points. Okay. So Unicode code points are stored in this array, and the start index and number of characters, as like in the previous example we have seen, they are specified over here. The resulting string is constructed from the range that begins at start index and runs for number of characters. A discussion of Unicode code points and how they are handled that we will see in the upcoming chapters. The second new constructor supports the new string builder class. So string in the bracket string builder object. Okay. So string buffer is a separate class, string builder is a separate class. This constructs the string from the string builder passed in the string builder object. Okay. Now we will see the string length. The length of the string is the number of characters that are present. Okay. How many number of characters? If for example, here 3 number of characters are present. So how to get those number of characters? Call the length method. It will return the integer value. Okay. So string s is equal to new string of characters and it will display the length. Then we will see the string operations. Because strings are common and important part of programming, Java has added several methods that are already defined in inbuilt class string. Okay, so there are several string operations already present, so you just have to use them. These operations include automatic creation of new string instances from string literals, concatenation of multiple string objects by use of concatenation plus operator, and a conversion of other data types to a string representation. Okay, there are explicit methods available to perform all these functions, but Java does them automatically as a convenience for the programmer and to add clarity. Okay, now we will see string literals. String can be initialized using 2 ways: character array. So we are creating first of all array of characters A, B, C, and this array I am passing to this string object. Then using string literals in double quotes, S2 is equal to ABC using string literal. Okay. So this is the string literal, or is it a string constant by using which you can create the string. Because the string object is created for every string literal, you can use a string literal any place you can use a string object. Okay. So this literal or this constant can be replacement of a actual string object every time. And concatenation of string. In general, Java does not allow operators to be applied on the string object, but concatenation is the exception. Okay, so operator overloading, first of all you have to remember this. We have seen operator overloading in C++ programming language. There we can operate, you can overload those operators, plus operator, minus operator, multiplication, division. Okay, but here in Java they are not allowed to overload those operators. Why? Because when compiler is actually using those operators, for example, and we have already overloaded those operators, the compiler gets confused at that time. Compiler doesn't understand that whether I use the normal addition operation on this value or I have to perform the concatenated, whether I have to use the overloaded operator. Okay, so in that case concatenation, in that case Java has eliminated the use of operator overloading, but only concatenation operator, and that too on the string literals, is allowed on string. Okay, which concatenates two strings producing a string object as the result. When we are using this concatenation operator to modify, to combine the two string literals, when we are creating a very long variable of string, and that is not possible to write all the string in one line, what we are doing, we are using the concatenation operator, so that you can write multiple strings on multiple lines, and that too can combine and result in a very much new final string. This allows you to chain together a series of plus or concatenation operation. For example, he is concatenation age, concatenation years old. So age will be replaced by this value 9. So output is he is 9 years old. Okay. The display is 9 years old. One practical use of string concatenation is found when you are creating very long string. Okay, and that is not possible to display all the string into editor, or when you are writing a very long string in a one line, you have to scroll to the right in that editor to read all the string. So what is the option available? You have to use the concatenation operation. Instead of letting long string wrap around within your source code, you can break them into smaller pieces and use concatenation to concatenate them or merge them into one single string. Using concatenation here, this could have been a very long line that could have wrapped around, but string concatenation prevents this. Okay, so if I would have not used this plus operation, what would have been the result? This could have been a very long line that would have whatever the text, I would have to write them into a single line, and I then had to scroll to the right. Okay, but concatenation usage have prevented this. And then I am printing system.out.println long string. There is string concatenation with other data types. You can concatenate string with other data type. For example, consider he is 8 years old. So age is replaced by 9. Okay, but age is integer. In the previous example, age was what? Age was string. Okay, so you might have thinking about like only string can be added over here, but no, this is not the case. Any other type of string, any other type of data type can be merged over here, and when you are using the concatenation, this will automatically convert it to the string representation of that value. If you are passing here float, that float will be automatically converted to string. If you are passing here boolean, that boolean will be automatically converted to string representation of boolean variable. Age is an int rather than another string, but the output produces the same as the before. Okay, this is because int value in age is automatically converted into a string representation within a string object. Okay, and then it is concatenated. Compiler will convert an operand into string equivalent whenever the other operand of plus is an instance of string. Okay, be careful when you mix another type of operation with string concatenation expression. However, you might get surprising result. Okay, so 4 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so it will display 422. Okay, so first of all 2 is displayed as string representation and then 2 is displayed. But what was the expected result? 4 as equal to 4. What I have to do is then I have to give the parenthesis over here. Operator precedence causes the concatenation of 4 with the string equivalent of 2 to take place first. This result is then concatenated with the string equivalent of 2 in a second time. So what I have to do is I have to use the parenthesis. Okay, so that will result in 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. String conversion and toString method. When Java converts data into string representation during concatenation, it does so by calling one of the overloaded versions of string conversion method value of defined by string. Okay, value of int will give you the string representation of int. Value of float, value of in bracket float, it will give you string representation of float. Value of is overloaded for all the simple types and for type object as well. For the simple types, value of returns a string that contains a human readable equivalent of the value with which it is called. Okay, for objects, value of calls a toString method. Only the thing different is for the objects, value of give the toString method call on the object. Let's examine the toString method because it is the means by which you can determine the string representation for object of classes that you create. Every class implements toString because it is defined by object automatically. Whether or not you are overriding that method, toString is automatically called. The default implementation of toString is seldom sufficient. Okay, many times you may have to override that method. For most important classes that you create, you will want to override that method and provide your own string representation. Okay, and it is very easy. You have to just override it using string to string. Okay, to implement toString, simply return a string object that contains a human readable string that appropriately describes the object of your class. Okay, you allow them to be fully integrated your Java programming environment. So what does that mean? When you are overriding the toString method, your toString representation will be called instead of the object class toString method representation. Okay, so you just have to write this like this: string toString, and whatever implementation you have to write, you can write it down into opening and closing curly braces. So whenever you will call the toString method on your object, your toString method representation will be called. They can be used to in print and println statements and a concatenation expression. The following program demonstrates the by overriding toString for the box class. Okay, width, height, and depth. It is a parameterized constructor. The width is equal to W, height is equal to H, depth is equal to D. Then toString return dimensions are width by depth by height. So whenever toString method will be called on my object of box, they will call this toString method and it will display dimensions are whatever width, depth, and height will be replaced over here. Okay, so 10, 20, 12, 40. Okay, concatenate box object, box B plus B. So box B dimensions are, it will display 10, 10 by 4, 12 by 40. Okay, box B dimensions are 10 by 14 by 12. Okay, box toString method is automatically invoked when a box object is used in a concatenation expression or in a call to println. Okay, then character extraction. The string class provides a number of ways in which characters can be extracted from a string object. Although the characters that comprise string within a string object cannot be indexed as if they were character array, many of the string methods employ an index or offset into the string for the operation. So, what is it in short? Okay, whatever string that is represented as a literal, its index start with 0. Okay, so from that starting index you can get any particular index using the character at method. So character at 2, for example, it will give you the character in that string at the location or at the index 2. Okay, in short, you just have to remember this. To extract a single character at into where you have to specify the index. where is the index of the character that you want to obtain. The value of where must be non-negative. It cannot be less than 0 and specify location within the string. Okay, from within the range. If the characters present in the strings are already 5 and you are giving the 7th index, it will give you the exception. Okay, character at returns the particular character at the specified location. Okay, character ch is equal to abc. You can use the string literal instead of object, creating object directly as we have seen. Dot character at 1, so 0 1, it will return the b. Okay, assign the value b to ch and I can display the b. Then get characters. If you need to extract more than one character at a time, you can use the get characters. Void get characters. Source start, source end, target, integer, target, start. Okay, so whatever object name you are specifying, dot get characters, that object will be your that string literal will be your source. From where to where you have to extract, at which array you have to place it, and then target start, from which location you have to place it. Source start specifies the index of the beginning of the substring. Okay, and source end specifies the index that is one past the end of the desired substring. One past. Okay, so one location is already added. Thus the substring contains the characters from source start to source end minus 1. For example, if there are 5 characters, it will be 0 to 4. If there are 10 characters, it will be 0 to 9. If there are 15 characters, it will be 0 to 40. So it will be from source start through source end minus 1. Okay. By mistake, it was written it like source end 1 minus. It is actually source end minus 1. You have to note it down. Then the array that will receive the characters is specified by the target. The index within the target at which the substring will be copied, it is passed in the target start. Okay. The target array will store the details of the array, and from which location I have to copy, that location will be target start. Care must be taken to assure that the target array is large enough to hold the complete source array. Okay. To hold the number of characters in the specified string. The following program will see get characters demo. This is the demo of get characters method. Start is 10, end is 40. Okay. So from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. From 10 to 14. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Demo and space. Okay. So end minus start. 14 minus 10, 4 characters I have to take demo. So that demo will be stored in buffer, and from start end demo, from the buffer is a new array created of that will hold the 4 characters. Okay. And from this it will extract the details demo. So demo will be stored at from the 0th location to the buffer. Okay. So output is demo. Why output is demo? Because I am printing this array. Okay. Then get bytes. This is there is an alternative to get characters. It is that stores the character in array of bytes. This method is called get bytes, and it uses the default character 2-byte conversion provided by the platform. Okay. Character 2-byte conversion is used by the provided by the platform, and simplest form is byte get bytes. Other forms of get bytes are also available. This will return the byte array, and it will use the default character 2-byte conversion provided by the platform. Get bytes is most useful when you are exporting a string value into an environment that does not support 16-bit Unicode characters. For example, most internet protocol and text file format uses 8-byte ASCII for all text interchange. Okay. Whenever you are in environment that does not support 16-bit Unicode characters, get bytes is useful, because text files formats and internet protocols use most of the internet protocols use the 8-bit ASCII for all text interchange. Then 2-character array. If you want to convert all characters in the string object into character array, you will use the 2-character array, and it returns array of characters for the entire string. So entire string will be converted to entire array. It will return the character array. This function is provided as a convenience, since it is possible to use get characters to achieve the same result. Okay. So instead of get characters, you can directly use the 2-character array. Then string comparison. The string class includes several methods that compare the string. Equals and equal ignore case. Equals compare two strings for equality. Use equals. Okay. So what is the format? Boolean equals. It will return the Boolean value, and I am passing the object string. String is a string object being compared with the invoking string object. It returns true if the string contains the same characters in the same order and the false otherwise. Okay. So exact same match is there, then it will give the true result. And if you are not case sensitive for the comparison, if you want to ignore case differences, call equals ignore case. It considers A to Z to be same as A to Z. So what is the format of this? Boolean equal ignore case string. Okay. Okay. So in this way we have completed the first part of theory part, string handling. Okay. In the next session we will see some more topics, some more interesting things about string handling. Okay. String handling is a very vast thing, because string is a complete separate class created inbuilt for your convenience to handle string more efficiently, more easily. So there is much more things to be learned into string handling. It is very easy chapter, it is very interesting chapter, and it is very useful chapter in Java programming language. So we will meet you with the new more topics related to string handling in the next session. So meet you in the next session. Thank you so much.